Here are the top stories for today, January 13, 2020. Authorities monitor Taal Volcano as it releases phreatic and magmatic eruptions since Sunday. President Duterte orders authorities to aid in the evacuation of residents near Taal Volcano. The NDRRMC goes on red alert as Taal's unrest continues. And health officials warn of the hazards expected with the eruption of Taal Volcano. The PNA Newsroom brings you the biggest stories on the unrest of Taal Volcano. Good day, I'm Rom Dulfo. Our top story, authorities are monitoring Taal Volcano as it exhibited continuous activity, starting with a steam-blown eruption Sunday afternoon. Taal's alert status jumped to level 4 as it showed signs of a possible explosive eruption. Janice Cave with the story.
The Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology raised the status of Taal Volcano to alert level 4 on Sunday, 7:30 p.m., only a few hours after it was placed under alert level 2 and level 3. Alert level 4 means a hazardous explosive eruption is possible within hours to days. PHIVOLCS Director Renato Solidum said an escalation in the volcanic activity has been observed in the afternoon. Ashfall spread in Batangas and other parts of Calabarzon, including Metro Manila and parts of Central Luzon. Taal spewed lava fountains, also known as a magmatic eruption, accompanied by thunder and flashes of lightning early Monday morning. PHIVOLCS strongly recommended evacuation, especially in high-risk areas. It warns that the volcanic tsunami is possible if Taal Volcano's activities intensify and the alert is raised to 5. A volcanic tsunami may occur in caldera lakes when water is displaced by deformation of the lake floor caused by rising magma. PHIVOLCS has recommended residents near Taal's lakeshore to evacuate amid the volcano's heightened activity. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Janice Cave.
State seismologists warn that more earthquakes can be expected as Taal Volcano's steam-driven eruption continues. Almost 100 minor earthquakes have been recorded in the provinces of Cavite and Batangas since Sunday afternoon. Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology, PHIVOLCS Director Undersecretary Renato Solidum says earthquakes of less than magnitude 4 and strong shaking will persist in areas near the Taal Volcano. A total of 75 volcanic earthquakes have been recorded in the Taal region as of early Monday morning, with 32 of these felt with up to magnitude 4. Solidum warns that constant volcanic quakes can also loosen the wall of the Taal crater, which can endanger those living in steep slopes near the volcano area. PHIVOLCS reiterates the evacuation of residents of the Taal Volcano Island and high-risk areas within the 14-kilometer radius of the crater. President Rodrigo Duterte has ordered authorities to ensure that the people within the perimeter of Taal Volcano are taken out of the danger zone. Presidential spokesperson Sal Panelo assured that the palace is closely monitoring the situation of Taal Volcano. Concerned agencies of the national government are now working closely with the provincial government of Batangas to ensure the safety of the residents, including their evacuation. President Duterte flew to Manila from Davao on Monday noon after his flight was delayed due to low visibility caused by Taal Volcano's eruption. Meanwhile, the Philippine Navy is readying 15 teams for humanitarian and disaster relief missions in areas affected by the explosion of Taal Volcano. Lieutenant Commander Maria Cristina Rojas, Philippine Navy Public Affairs Office Chief, said the teams are ready to be deployed anytime. The NDRRMC says at least 3 towns near the volcano, namely Talisay, Balete, and San Nicolas, began to evacuate the residents after the ash explosion. Partial operations were in place at the Ninoy Aquino International Airport, or NAIA, on Monday after it was shut down late on Sunday due to ashfall from Taal Volcano. More on this from William Theo.
NAIA has resumed partial operations at noon on Monday for arrivals and earlier at 10 a.m. for departure flights. Personnel continue to clear the airport's taxiways and ramps of ashfall from the volcanic eruption. Manila International Airport Authority General Manager Ed Monreal said they are almost done clearing the ashfall from their runway. Volcanic ash risks stalling jet engines, prompting authorities to cancel hundreds of flights at NAIA. Meanwhile, the Department of Agriculture is closely monitoring the situation in Batangas following the phreatic eruption of Taal Volcano. The DA is ready to provide emergency loan assistance to affected farmers and fisherfolk under the Survival and Recovery Loan Program. Affected farmers and fisherfolks may have an option to borrow a higher amount under the recently launched Micro and Small Agribusiness Loan Program. And in other news, the Department of Tourism advises tourists within the vicinity of Tagaytay in Batangas and Cavite to evacuate the areas around Taal Volcano. The tourism officer of Tagaytay City earlier reported that tourists have left after Alert Level 4 was raised in Taal. For the PNA Newsroom, I am William Theo.
Still to come, the NDRRMC goes on red alert as Taal's unrest continues. PHIVOLCS monitors Mayon and Bulusan volcanoes for similar activity. More on these when the PNA Newsroom continues.
Halfway through the 6-year term of President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, much has already been done. But the administration continues to push the envelope to bring about true and lasting change and leave behind a legacy that will continue to benefit our country and our people for generations to come.
The National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council's main operations center has activated its alert status to red on Monday amid Taal Volcano's sudden activity. As of Monday morning, a total of 966 families were forced to take shelter in some 38 evacuation centers as alert status 4 was raised. Around 300,000 people have been targeted for evacuation. The Department of Social Welfare and Development, or DSWD, says there are 5,000 family food packs and sleeping kits on the way for distribution to the evacuation centers. PHIVOLCS, meanwhile, said alert level 5 may be raised in Taal Volcano within the next few days. Alert level may be downgraded if activity becomes less intense. Local officials in Batangas are working in response to Taal Volcano's eruption as military units go on standby to provide humanitarian assistance. Joyce Cudis with the story.
Interior Secretary Eduardo Año ordered local government units in Batangas to take appropriate measures in response to the Taal Volcano's phreatic eruption on Sunday afternoon. Año has ordered LGUs to convene local disaster risk reduction and management councils and activate operation centers to conduct appropriate actions and necessary evacuations of barangay residents living around Taal Volcano, particularly Agoncillo and Laurel, Batangas. The Philippine National Police has raised its security alert status in Batangas, specifically in Taal Volcano Island and other high-risk areas. Meanwhile, the Armed Forces of the Philippines has placed all Luzon-based units on red alert in preparation for the deployment of humanitarian assistance and disaster response units. Ashes and pumice-like pits apparently spewing out of raging Taal Volcano sent residents rushing into their homes for shelter late Sunday afternoon. Residents of the three towns of San Nicolas, Talisay, and Balete and Batangas Province, which are closest to the famous volcano that sits inside a bigger caldera, were ordered evacuated. Whirlwinds of ashes were reported along the South Luzon Expressway through the cities of Muntinlupa and San Pedro Biñan and Cabuyao in Laguna Province. A wide swath of towns and cities within the 800-kilometer range of Taal Volcano was affected by the ashfall. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Joyce Cudis.
PHIVOLCS is also monitoring activities around Mayon and Bulusan volcanoes as Taal Volcano moves into a magmatic eruption. Alert level 2 remains over Mayon volcano, meaning Mayon is at a moderate level of unrest. PHIVOLCS says Sudden explosions, lava collapses, pyroclastic density currents or PDCs, and ashfall can still occur and threaten areas in the upper to middle slopes of Mayon. Entry into the 6-kilometer radius permanent danger zone and a precautionary 7-kilometer radius extended danger zone is strictly prohibited. People are also advised to beware of rockfalls, pyroclastic current, and ashfall. Meanwhile, a volcanic earthquake was recorded in Bulusan volcano within 24 hours. Bulusan, however, remains under alert level 1 status, which means it could generate steam-driven or phreatic eruptions. In our business news, the Department of Energy says necessary actions are being taken by Shell Philippines to secure the Malampaya gas field from the effects of Taal Volcano's eruption. DOE on Monday said Shell is undertaking all necessary precautions and actions, including minimizing the effects of ashfall from Taal. It also reported that the volcanic eruption has affected power transmission and distribution in Region 4A. Malampaya is powering up 30% of the country's electricity needs. The DOE says there are ongoing switching and restoration of lines. For power distribution, power interruptions were reported in Tanawan, Talisay, and Laurel, Batangas due to eruptions, earthquakes, as well as ashfall, lava, mud, and rocks. The substations in Talaga and Laurel were also affected. For the oil sector, the Taal eruption closed down 7 gas stations located within the 6 to 35-kilometer radius of the volcano. Up next, health officials warn of the hazards expected with the eruption of Taal Volcano, and foreign validators praise the beauty and cleanliness of Pujada Bay. The PNA Newsroom returns after these reminders. Health authorities warn the public to take precautions due to the health effects of exposure to volcanic ash and gases from Taal Volcano. The Department of Health said volcanic ash, which may contain powder-sized to sand-sized particles, may cause health problems. Among the effects of volcanic ash are nose and throat irritation, coughing, discomfort while breathing, and eye irritation. Volcanic ash may worsen conditions of those who are suffering from bronchitis, emphysema, or asthma. Exposure may also cause minor skin problems and injuries leading to death. During an ashfall, people must remain indoors, close all windows and doors, and cover nose and mouth as well as food and water containers to prevent exposure or contamination. The DOH also recommended wearing goggles or eyeglasses to protect the eyes from irritation and to keep pets in a closed shelter. In other news, a small contingent of Filipino troops will be deployed to assist in the repatriation of overseas Filipino workers or OFWs in the Middle East. Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana says the personnel would only be clad in civilian attire due to the sensitivities of the countries there. He said there were proposals to send 2 battalions of troops in the Middle East to help repatriate OFWs in the region, but this would eat up space inside the ships. Lorenzana said the Philippine Navy is already preparing 2 of its ships for deployment to the Middle East to help in the repatriation efforts. Validators hailed the beauty of Pujada Bay in Davao Oriental as they conducted ground validation on the possible inclusion of the bay to the most beautiful bays in the world club. MBBW founder and manager Bruno Boddard and MBBW treasurer Guy Etienne Rousset arrived last Wednesday for the validation. Boddard praised the cleanliness of the city and the bays, while Rousset lauded the city government for their efforts in keeping the island clean. Mayor Michelle Rabat is hopeful for the approval of Pujada Bay's application. She says apart from boosting tourism, they wish to be accepted so that they can give alternative jobs to small fisherfolk. The Philippines is among the 26 member countries of MBBW, with Puerto Galera Bay as the lone bay in the country included in the official list. Here's the latest in our community billboard. The Philippine Travel Agencies Association will hold a travel expo next month, offering up to 70% discount on travel products and services. The PTAA slated the 5th International Travel Trade Expo 2020 from February 2 to 4, while the 27th Travel Tour Expo will be held on February 7 to 9. Both will be held at the SMX Convention Center, Mall of Asia or MOA in Pasay City. The expo will feature 1,000 booths from more than 400 exhibitors from the travel agency and tourism enterprise industry. They are expected to give discounts of up to 70% on cruise lines, hotels, theme parks, and airline fares for both group and solo travel. The PTAA Travel Expo is the country's largest annual expo on travel and tours, expecting more than 100,000 visitors. Take another look at today's biggest stories. Authorities monitor Taal Volcano as it releases phreatic and magmatic eruptions since Sunday. President Duterte orders authorities to aid in the evacuation of residents near Taal Volcano. The NDRRMC goes on red alert as Taal's unrest continues. And health officials warned of the hazards expected with the eruption of Taal Volcano. Thank you for watching another episode of the PNA Newsroom. To check more news content, check our webpage or head on to the Philippine News Agency's Facebook and Twitter accounts. For more news about the government, how it serves Filipinos, look for these hashtags on all our social media platforms and websites. We are shown on the pages of the PCOO and its attached agencies. Also watch us on television on PTV4 and IBC 13. And that's your daily dose of the biggest stories that you need to know from the PNA Newsroom. I am Rom Dulfo. Good day and keep safe.